Hello and welcome back to ChäoS Head Noah. My name is Maybe Dennis, and last time we started off the episode by going to the hospital to visit Ayase, and after finding out that she was not in her room, we were just looking around the hospital trying to find her, just to find a black wall, and it was kind of weird, and it gave Takumi some headaches or something. And so you went to the nurse's office just to kind of get checked up, just to find Hazuki mumbling to herself over and over again or about something. It was kind of creepy, and after she left, we saw her notebook just to find the picture of the crucified that Grimm sent out to us many days ago, and it just was on like every page, and it was really creepy. And afterwards, we met up with Misumi again and found that Ayase and Rimi were actually arguing. And after Ayase slapped Rimi, she went back to her room, and we kind of talked with her. Mainly just Takumi though, talking about like the book or like the story, not exactly the book, like the fantasy book. I forgot what it was called. I think it was Gladiol or something. And we kind of left afterwards. It was kind of weird. We went home with Rimi just to find Senna on top of our building, literally, or our shipping container, and she attacked us. And it was revealed that Rimi indeed had a D-sword, the one from the beginning of the game that we saw. So they clashed, and then Rimi kind of controlled her mind a little bit, made her see that homeless dude that we saw in the street before, that Kozupi had talked to before, and we found out that that person was actually her father, and she's on a journey to kill him. And yeah, a lot of things were revealed, such as, you know, the owner of the creator of that formula that Takumi wrote as a kid was actually the formula that could like define the world, like E equals MC squared. But yeah, it was really dense because a lot of stuff happened, a lot of action started kicking up, and yeah, now we're at a different point of the story. I think we just saw the Knows Me dude like do some evil plan thing. He's like, yes, we're at our final stage, we're gonna cause another earthquake. And yeah, let's head on with the story. An experiment had been performed, but she never knew. Oh, that's gonna be Senna's mom, I think? She was a normal housewife, close to turning 40, newly pregnant with her second child. No, maybe she wasn't quite normal. Her first daughter was already only a year away from high school, so there'd be almost 15-year gap between her children. She was worried that her daughter, who was currently going through puberty, would rebel against having a younger sister, but in fact, her daughter was overjoyed. Her husband was a scientist, and between his faith and research, only rarely came home, but whenever he was home, he did his best to be a good father and a good husband. So, while she certainly had her complaints, her love for her husband was firm. The second child was born uneventfully. She was a healthy young girl who weighed 2,579 grams at birth. She named the girl Mana. Okay, so Mana will be Senna's sister. Unfortunately, after that, her husband was transferred to a new location far away from home. Her husband wouldn't last a week without someone to do the chores and make the food, so she had no choice but to send her oldest daughter along with him. Oh, so Senna... I guess their parents were not separated as in divorce, but like physically separated due to job. So Senna went with her father. Now she was alone, with her newborn daughter Mana. At her husband's suggestion, the two of them moved into the housing owned by the company he worked for, so rent was extremely low. Her family had originally lived in a condo in the suburbs, but it was far away from the city center and hard to get anywhere. The dorm, however, was located right in the heart of Shibuya, and many of her husband's colleagues lived nearby. She'd have easy access to childcare, and if anything came up, she'd have people around who could help her. The place was extremely spacious. The bedroom, especially, was a favorite of hers. A huge mirror covered a whole wall, and the other side, there was a big window. From there, you could look down onto Yoyogi Park. She quickly became friends with the ladies in the nearby residence, and the corporate benefits even included a maid. She was proud that her husband was important enough in the company for her to have all these benefits, and was more than satisfied with her life of luxury. Wow. So, the husband went from a respectful doctor at an institute to being homeless and destitute? 2 years passed. Mana's development was still a little slow, but she was growing up without suffering any major illness. She was, however, a very needy child. If she wasn't constantly held at her mother's breast, she'd start crying immediately. For the past month or so, Mana's mother hadn't been feeling well at all. The ringing in her ears was the worst part. It bothered her almost the whole day. But still, she couldn't let the maid or the lady next door take care of Mana. Mana couldn't stand to be away from her for a second. Not in the bathroom, not when taking a bath. Whenever she even thought of letting the maid hold her for a second, Mana would somehow know and start crying. It was, in a way, endearing to have the young child so reliant on her, but also meant that she couldn't leave the house for an instant. The maid and her neighbor, though, were able to help. She was so lucky to have met them. I wonder if the maid or the neighbor is going to be relevant. Of course, things were gradually getting strange with them too. A week ago, she had been talking with her neighbor in the living room when the woman had suddenly started to vomit without warning. She quickly fled afterwards, running outside of the house. Mana's mother hadn't seen the neighbor at all after that, so perhaps she had gotten sick. Mana's mother then decided to ask her maid to go check on the neighbor. The maid was just finishing up for the day when she made the request. When she finished it with "and I'll see you tomorrow," the maid suddenly began to cry. The maid just nodded over and over again before leaving. Where's this gonna go? Is Mana gonna be special? Like, maybe Mana was a natural gigalomaniac or something and made them sick? And that night, Mana's mother suffered terribly as a ring in her ears got even more violent than before, and the pain threatened to split her head open. She tried to call an ambulance, but the phones didn't work. Oh, you can hear the humming in the background, and that noise, in Mana's perspective, has been lasting for years at this point. Maybe like at least a year. I think she said it was 2 years later. I think. She tried to get the neighbor lady to help, but even that was too difficult. Her daughter started to cry violently, and the crying made the pain worse. She held Mana tight to her chest, enduring the pain. Suddenly, the crying of the ring in her ear stopped. The pain in her head was gone, like it had never been there. Oh no. She held Mana tight to her chest. Oh no. I think there are cases where mothers have maybe accidentally suffocated their child because of situations like this. Oh no. She looked down and she saw what was, oh god, and saw that she was holding the shriveled corpse of a child. Before she realized that the whole thing was an experiment, her mind broke into a million pieces. The whole thing was an experiment? Wait, what? Oh my god. Like, originally I thought it was that case where, like, mothers, after being exhausted and, like, you know, sleeping with a child in their bed, they may have accidentally, like, fallen asleep or unconsciously, like, put maybe too much blanket or, like, maybe, like, hovered over them too much because they always want to be hugged and accidentally suffocate their child. I think it's a thing, but it is extremely unfortunate. But this was an experiment? What kind of experiment? Who was hosting this experiment? Oh, wait, no, it's gonna be her husband. Oh, because he's a scientist. Oh man, things were going too well. An experiment had been performed, but it wasn't what he had expected it to be. What the heck? Wait. So, that's the homeless dude, who is Senna's father, and that's the mother. He was a scientist at Nozomi Technologies, Nozomi, and a believer in the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light. He was one of the key figures behind Nozomi Tech's secret project, Noah, and the one who'd solved the riddle of fun to the 10th x int to the 40th equals LR2, or IR2. He had offered his pregnant wife as He had offered his pregnant wife as a test subject for the experiment. It was a direct order from the church's leader, a person he admired deeply, but he had also been the one to suggest it to make the experiment a success. Oh my god. Oh no. Okay. So, from the moment his wife was pregnant, I don't know if it may have been a miscarriage or if the child was actually born or whatever, but he essentially, I'm assuming Nozomi is behind all this gigalomaniac thing because they seem to be very suspicious and know everything, but they made the past 2 years basically a delusion in her mind, so she thought that the baby was real. I guess the baby actually came out, but ended up passing away because when she woke up, there was a shriveled baby in her hand. Oh my god, that's so fucked up. It was called the Mana experiment, after giving the codename given to his wife's daughter. That's also really messed up. You can tell by saying his wife's daughter instead of his daughter that, like, he had no attachment to this child. He just literally viewed it as an experiment. His older daughter was given to a church facility while he monitored his sequestered wife and Mana 24 hours a day. Oh. Ah. Oh my god, this game is really good at making me hate people. Oh my god, so this was all an experiment. And like his older daughter was also part of an experiment. He was given to the church facility. Jesus. What his wife had thought was a company-owned condo was, in fact, a Nozomi Technologies testing facility and the location of the Noah 2 prototype that he was working on. So that's the same brain thing that I think Ayase was wearing. Mind reading, induced hallucinations, sensory control. His wife and daughter would be used to test the efficacy of these technologies here in the sealed lab. Jeez, no wonder why Senna absolutely hates this dude. He literally ruined their lives. And like, oh my god, broke up their entire family, literally offered them as human experiments. The effects of the electromagnetic radiation on the body were ill understood, and he had planned to cancel the experiments if anything unusual happened to his wife and daughter. Yeah, sure. Yeah, he was just thinking about their safety. An accident occurred almost immediately, and he did not stop it. Mana died roughly a month after being born. The cause of her death was unknown. So Mana was only a month. It was an accident, one that nobody could prevent. He was deeply saddened and tried to cancel the experiment, but that wasn't going to happen. Oh, that's the white-haired doctor dude. I don't know his name. That's what his employer had said. The man had been looking at the strange goings-ons in the test lab. His wife had refused to accept the reality of her daughter's death and treated her corpse like it was still alive. In fact, from his wife's perspective, she was. This was an effect of the Noah 2 prototype, and in a sense, the perfect chance to test its abilities. Oh my god, so he just left his mother? He just left the mother in denial for all this time until she eventually snapped out of it, which was 2 years. Oh my god. His feelings on the matter were irrelevant, and before long, he too began to feel that his wife would be better off if the experiment continued. So this is the ignorance is bliss thing. He thought that the wife would not be able to mentally handle the death of their child. As he watched his wife through the one-way mirror, cradling his daughter's corpse, it seemed like she was happy with her life. She stared at the wallpaper on the opposite side, which looked to her like a window overlooking Yoyogi Park, and whispered softly to her daughter. The two of the research staff took care of her. One would pretend to be a maid, and the other the lady next door. As long as the experiment continued, his wife's mind would be just fine. This was, he told himself, what was for the best. So the neighbor and the maid were plants that Nozomi threw into this experiment, and I guess that makes the maid's attitude understandable. But I kind of wonder about like the neighbor's vomit, though. Maybe she was also part of an experiment, like aside from this one. Perhaps his mind had broken before hers. And the more time passed, the more his goal changed from the completion of Noah 2 to keeping his wife locked within her dream. Oh my god. And then, almost after 2 years, his employer's words suddenly brought all that to an end. Well, all of these dreams will come to an end. He fought back as hard as he could, but as a result, he was branded a traitor and removed from the project. As a final thanks for his service, he was allowed to be in the experiment room, hands tied on the day it was shut down. His daughter, whom he hadn't seen for nearly 2 years, had been brought there as well. When she saw him, she seemed confused. That's Senna. So she said 2 years. So she should have been... I guess she was about to enter high school, so at this point, it'd make it the 2nd year of high school. She's currently a 3rd year, so I assume that this is like a year ago.
母さんが抱いているの。一体。
He couldn't answer. Actually, in that case, I wonder if Senna knew that she had a younger sister, because, I mean, she was born, and then she never saw her. Or maybe she knew that the baby had died. He couldn't answer. The guilt kept him from even looking at her in the eye. The horrible ceremony was about to begin. The neighbor lady had already become unable to tolerate the stench, and the maid had run out of the lab weeping at his wife's words. So, I forgot. The wife said, can you please check on the neighbor lady, I think? Because she was worried about her. And the neighbor lady was, because she's been carrying a dead baby for 2 years, the neighbor just could not handle it anymore. So that makes sense. The device was shut down. I'm gonna hear a scream soon. The dream ended, and his wife broke. At the sight of her daughter suddenly turning into desiccated, I think that's how you pronounce it, corpse. At least that's how it must have seemed to her. She snapped, tearing out her hair and ripping the skin off her face with her nails. She began to laugh madly, slamming her face again into the wall, before grabbing a knife and killing herself by stabbing out her own eyes. You know, thank you, black screen. I really didn't want to see that. Her daughter was screaming and crying as she watched her mother's last moments through the one-way mirror. Okay, I understand Sana much better now. Her quest for revenge. The lab staff grabbed his daughter by the arms and dragged her off somewhere. He didn't know where. He wasn't even allowed to follow the only family he had left. Okay, so I mean, offering up his family seems kind of weird. I mean, this is, for all intents and purposes, a cult, and he offered up his wife and his newborn daughter as, you know, experiments, as well as his older daughter. But in this case, he wanted to help his wife get over the fact that their youngest daughter passed away. So I'm like, it's like the ignorance versus ignorance is bliss argument. Do you keep them in, you know, ignorance so that they'll never find out the truth, but they'll stay happy? Or do you tell them the truth and, well, potentially have this? I mean, I think the reason why she ended up snapping this way is because everything she found out was a lie, rather than, you know, just the death of her daughter. Like, the experiment essentially multiplied her negative emotions, probably. So you could argue that maybe he was, you know, morally, not necessarily morally correct, but like morally gray. But it was definitely the wrong thing to do, and it kind of helps. You know, when I heard that he offered up his younger daughter, wife, and older daughter to this cult, I thought he was a complete piece of shit. And he still might be, but he did it with... at least he did this experiment with his wife with good intentions that were extremely flawed. So, I mean, no matter how much I could end up sympathizing with him, it's still so fucked up. Excuse my language, but like, I feel like this game prompts a lot of disgust from me. He blamed himself. It was all his fault. Whatever his reasons, when he opted to continue the experiment 2 years prior, it had been obvious that this was how it was going to end. Yeah. Several days after watching his wife's death, he disappeared. Nobody knew where he was now. Oh man, the sax guy was going in. Oh. Man, that was So messed up. Oh man, they really tried to make us imagine the most graphic thing possible in these backstories, especially with, for example, for Kozupi, she sliced off the hand of some girls in the bathroom. For Senna, I think this is the worst. It literally, gouge out her eyes and like shriveled baby. Ugh. And do we know any other backstories? We saw Ayase, who was mentally tortured by having essentially no resources except for like a drop of water every 5 seconds, as well as being tied to a chair where she couldn't do anything. So like, yeah, I think Seta said that like being pushed to the brink is what awakens your D sword. I can see why they got these D swords. Senna had ended up running off on her own after angrily asking Kozupi some kind of question. Kozupi had gone after Senna. I had no idea what made her suddenly go crazy. Now, I was slowly trudging through Shimokitazawa. I was almost home. It wasn't even 30 minutes from the base. Was Nanami there? Shimokitazawa Street were busy, though not as busy as Shibuya. The Psychic Boy incident was still fresh in people's memories. Some would point and laugh at me, while others would even take pictures with their cell phones. I hurried home as fast as I could, suffering the feelings of embarrassment and humiliation.
ごめんね。
Rimi was walking a little behind me, her eyes locked on the ground below her as she whispered. She said she said that at least 10 times on the way here.
黙ってて。ごめん。
Yeah, I wonder how Takumi will treat Rimi from now on, because it seemed like he really, really trusted her. At least he really, really wanted to, because she was always there in his time of need. But because we knew that she was especially talking to someone, Shogun, behind the scenes, and even contemplated on killing Takumi, we know that she's extremely morally gray at the moment. We don't know what side she's on, probably the other side, but she's still helping us, so we know more than Takumi knows. And Takumi, it seems like the moment that happened on the roof of the building may have squandered all of the trust that he's put into Rimi, similar to the beginning, how all of the trust that he had in Yua was just crumpled, and Yua was essentially his number 2 worst enemy. There was nothing I could say. I didn't understand Rimi. That had always been the case. Rimi had been there to support me. She'd been there for me. But there's so much about her I didn't understand. Until now, I always just opted to just ignore it. Maybe that was because it felt like if any of those things I didn't understand ever came out into the open, Rimi would go away. And I was afraid of that.
どうして僕と一緒にいてくれるの?
I managed to work up the courage to ask that single question. Why would Rimi want to be anywhere near a guy like me? Was it because she was like Yua and trying to set me up for a fall? But the answer wasn't what I expected.
あなたに目覚めて欲しくないの。
I didn't want you to wake up. Is this entire world a dream? Are we all in the Matrix? I mean, this thing is about delusions, and the fact that delusions can become reality does raise some questions.
普通の生活を送って欲しかった。
That would be an extremely meta thing to do. Though, considering the fact that there is a sequel in ChäoS Child, and, well, this is not really spoilers, but events in this game do affect the events in ChäoS Child, I'm gonna assume that this is not the Matrix or like some kind of virtual reality. This is probably the real world. She didn't want me to wake up? To awaken as a gigalomaniac? Is that what she meant? Rimi knew more about me than I did myself.
一体君は何者なの?
私は
Rimi hesitated.
私はタクの友達だって思ってる。
I think.
友達でいたいな。
Did that mean she didn't want me to ask any more questions? But I had to ask.
僕はギガロマニアックスなの。
そうとも言えるし、違うとも言える。
Which was it? Was she trying to confuse me?
君は IR2 のこと知ってたの?
聞いたことがあるだけ。
She didn't say who told her about it.
セナが言ってたのは本当なの？
嘘だよ。
She was lying. She was lying when she said it was a lie. I could tell just by looking at her.
君は
I went to ask her another question, but stopped. Oh, he's gonna say, are you in the leagues with Shogun? Was Rimi on my side or my enemy? If I asked and got the wrong answer, she might leave me forever, so I couldn't ask. If I just pretended nothing had happened, if I just let her lie to me, everything could go back to how it was before. That'd be easier. I'd be happier that way. Maybe. Yeah, I should just do that. I could pretend to be an idiot. I could just let her keep lying to me. She saved me enough times that she probably wasn't going to hurt me in the future. All I had to do was give her what she wanted and lead a normal life. So Rimi doesn't want Takumi to be awakened as a gigalomaniac because his version will probably have the ability to change the world. I think that's what she said. So she is helping him basically avoid that, which is kind of, I mean, Takumi only wants a D-sword in order to protect himself from Shogun, but there are so many factors leading him to get closer to activating his D-sword since he's already mentally like on the edge. So he wants to stay in the Matrix, for lack of better words, so that he can keep, you know, living happily with Rimi, because he knows that if he pushes or asks too much, she's going to leave.
ありがとう。
I looked away from her and thanked her instead of asking her a question.
守ってくれて。
だから
I couldn't think of anything else to say, so I just silently followed the path home. Oh right! I kind of forgot, he was going to visit home, so that's where Nanmi's going to be. Soon, I came to a street I recognized. It was a cramped, quiet neighborhood. Once in a while, you could hear the sounds of the trains in a distance. So this is where he lived, or at least probably the street where he lived. And we're probably going to see his parents plus Nanami, though I don't know anything about his parents. I'd known this place since I was a little kid. This is where I'd grown up. I'd follow this same road to elementary school and to middle school. I just had to turn down the narrow street in front of me, and home would be right there. I was scared to face Nanami, but I had to see whether her arm was still attached. I stopped and took a deep breath to calm myself. Then I went to take a step forward when... Uh-oh.
待って。
I turned back to see that Rimi was looking at me. She was on the verge of tears. Wait, is there something home that's going to make us... that's gonna make us, like, go off the edge? Maybe... I don't know what it could be. Maybe we're gonna see that Nanami's hand really was cut off or something. Maybe something with her parents? I don't really know.
どうしても行くの。ねえ、行かないで。もう普通じゃいられなくなるよ。私そんなの嫌だな。
I mean, this also kind of reflects the thing with Senna's mom. If you keep ignoring it, I mean, this will eventually come to light, and when that happens, Takumi's gonna break. So he'll have to find out the truth eventually, and it's only gonna get worse once the longer it's prolonged. What did that mean?
帰ろう。あのコンテナハウスに帰ろう。私タクが望む限りずっと一緒にいるから。それで一緒に学校に行って大臣と3人で他愛もない話をして、帰りに立ち食いそば屋さんとか CD ショップとかに寄って。
Ooh, she's saying that this is the point of no return. I wonder what's so big here that would make that. Maybe it's one of the things I mentioned, but the major thing I could think of would be Nanami not having her hand.
そうやってこれからもやっていこうよ。
僕はナナミに会わなくちゃ。
いないよ、きっと。
Wait, how would you... I was gonna say, how would you know that? Like, how would she know? Was she lying again? Was there a reason she didn't want me going to my parents' house?
私タクの悲しむ顔見たくない。
Not again.
も 謎かけみたいなことはやめてよ。
I was just sick of it all. Was I supposed to just never understand what's going on around me? I couldn't keep playing dumb, even if I wanted to. Everyone kept throwing mysteries in my face. I just wanted to remain ignorant.
実家に行っちゃいけない理由があるなら言ってよ。こんな中途半端なのうんざりなんだ。
Sick of it? I was the one who always decided to do things halfway, wasn't it? Wasn't I? I was the one who'd run away from things. That's right. I should just keep doing what I'd always been doing. I should just go home. Rimi was right. I didn't need to see Nanami. If I went to see her and she was missing her right hand, what was I even supposed to do about it? It'd be my fault, wouldn't it? Nanami would hate me. She'd despise me. I'd be the loser who couldn't save his little sister. I'd know for sure how pathetic I was. If I kept everything vague and uncertain, I wouldn't feel guilty. Yeah, I should just do that. That was the best move. Don't look at anything. No matter how many mysteries people shove in my face, I could just ignore them all. I could hide myself away from the whole world.
ほんと世話が焼けるな。ナナがいないと何にもできないんだから。
死んじゃえ
ダメだ。
In my head, I heard Nanami's bright, cheerful voice.
ダメだよ。
If I ran away here, I'd never be able to face Nanami again. I'd never be able to come here again.
タク、
I clenched my fists and stepped onto the narrow street that led to my old home. It was less than 50 meters away. At first, my pace was brisk. Then I ran. I headed towards the home where I'd grown up. 30 meters. 20 meters. 10 meters. Is this home even gonna be there? I feel like this is gonna be a twist where it's like, maybe there wasn't even a home here. I know that there was... Okay, spoilers for Bakemonogatari. For... I guess look at the timestamp. But in Bakemonogatari, there was one arc called... I think it was called the Hachikuji Snail or something. Or something like that. But it revolved around a girl named Hachikuji who was a lost child. And our main character was trying to find her way home. But after finding out a lot of information about this place, they just could not find it. They were completely lost. And the twist at the end was that she was actually, you know, a ghost and couldn't find her way home. And when she was able to finally follow the instructions and get home, that place was no longer there. She was a ghost for like decades or something. So like the place that she used to live has been renovated, has been deconstructed, or construction had occurred so that it was just a lot. It was no longer there. I wonder if that case is going to happen here as well. But yeah, there's a spoiler. 10 meters. 0 meters. Oh, it's not gonna be there. And the house I knew so well. Oh! Was it a different house? Wasn't there. Okay. That is not his house. The name on the plate was different. It didn't say Nishijo. The house looked different too. It was much nicer, much newer than the house I'd lived in. Oh right, the house he lived in was like wooden. He would look at the ceiling and like try to find the weird holes that would make faces. I looked around. I thought maybe I just stopped at the wrong house. But I was wrong. And besides that, nothing around me matched what I remembered. I thought for a moment that maybe I'd gotten lost or gone down the wrong street, but that was impossible. Everything on the way here had been just as I remembered. The path here was the same. But my home wasn't there. I'd followed the path in my memories, but what I remembered being here wasn't here at all. Instead, it was something else. I was seeing something new. I should know this place well, but it was like I was coming here for the first time.
Jamais vuだ。
Jamais vu. Is that... Oh yeah, that's the term for deja vu, or synonyms for it.
違うよ。
Rimi was standing right behind me. Her words were an instant rejection. Boom, boom.
この世界に
There's nowhere in this world that you belong.
タクの帰る場所は
Oh, God.
ないの。
For you to go home to. Ooh. Oh, I thought that was going to be the ending of a chapter. The lights from the setting sun fell into the hospital hallway. This time of day was particularly dark. It It was just before night fell, and the lights hadn't been turned on yet. The chaos and noise of dinner time had subsided, and an almost eerie silence descended in its place. Shogun was slowly moving down the hallway in his wheelchair. The sound of creaking wheels echoed throughout the corridor. He passed several nurses on the way, but none of them looked at him or spoke. Shogun, for his part, didn't seem to find this unusual at all. Frail hands, seemingly made of nothing but skin and bones, turned the wheels again and again. Oh right, there was some old dude yelling, "Amy! Ami! Ami!" As he passed one of the rooms, a patient named Yamai began to scream. He pointed at Shogun, shouting frantically. Wait, Shogun is Ami? There happened to be a nurse in his room. She looked terribly confused. That's against the rules. The nurse looked around and chuckled. Shogun was right in front of her, with his wheelchair, but still, she said nobody was there. Oh my god, this actually has multiple layers to it, because Shogun is physically there. The nurse can't see him, but Yamai sees something that isn't Shogun. So, like, that's at least 3 different layers right there. Rami? Oh, wait. Okay, sorry. I just needed to get my thoughts straight. So, what he was saying... And then he said, Taumija. It kind of sounded like he was saying Takumi. But he still said she. Unless that was a typo. Or not a typo, a mistranslation. Or, a correct translation, but based on the context of the sentence. Did he say Takumi? Yamai kept screaming and getting angrier and angrier. I'm going to listen to this again. It sounds really close. It sounds close to how a crazy person or like an old person without teeth would say Takumi. Yamai kept screaming, getting angrier and angrier. Shogun ignored him and continued down the hallway, turning right. Oh, right, it's this black wall. The cream-colored wall suddenly became black. Shogun didn't hesitate for even a moment before the wall. It's like just another day. Oh, he went through the wall. He kept going forward, and just before it seemed like he would hit it, the wall vanished. It simply disappeared, and revealed the hallway behind it. Shogun kept moving forward. The hallway went on for about 20 more meters before ending. This time, for real. There was a single door, which opened into a room. Shogun opened the door and went inside. It was a room that didn't exist. The one that there had been rumors and ghost stories about in the hospital for years. And the nameplate outside the door was, it's gonna be Takumi. Takumi Nishijo. Okay, chapter end. Chapter 9. Gigalo Maniac. Okay, we are in chapter 9 now. So, So the nurses can't see Shogun, but the patient could. So not everyone was... I guess the Delusion didn't get real booted or something. And Shogun went into a room for Takumi Nishijo, but that room had a wall blocking it, which is kind of weird. And Shogun... So... I mean... This brought a lot of questions that don't make much sense to me. So first is that, like, the home that Takumi tried to go to just was not there. So this seems like a glitch in the Matrix at the moment. Like, something's wrong, or at least something's inconsistent with Takumi's memories and the real world. And maybe he just wasn't in contact with his parents for so long that, you know, things have changed. But I feel like realistically, not everything wouldn't change that quickly, because he didn't recognize the entire street, just like the corner before, which, you know, was the same. So something is wrong with Takumi's memory or reality. Other thing is, they're trying to suggest that maybe Shogun is Takumi in a way, because first of all, the hospital room has a room for Takumi Nishijo, even though there was that like illusion wall thing, the black wall. There was a room for Takumi Nishijo, and he went in it, I think. So that means Takumi Nishijo is a patient at the hospital, but we know it's not us, or you know, the Takumi Nishijo that we know, but maybe Shogun. So maybe Yua's theory about Takumi being Shogun wasn't wrong. It wasn't completely off the mark. It was definitely wrong in her case about multiple personalities, because we can clearly see that they're two different peoples. But that also raises so many questions, like why are there two Takumis? What is the thing? I mean, I don't know. Let's continue. The sky outside the train car was turning dark. The Yamanote Line car was packed with salarymen heading home from work and students heading home from school. Yua Kusunoki and Yasuji Ban were standing next to each other, hanging on to the straps as the train rumbled and shook. They made the strange pair, and Yua had been glancing around for a while now to see if they attracted anyone's attention. She kept fiddling nervously with her hair and glasses. She just met Ban a few days ago and wasn't up to making friendly conversation with him. There was only one stop between Harajuku and Shibuya, but the 3 minutes it took to go between them felt far, far longer than it usually did. Ban was silently looking out the window. He made no attempt to speak to her. In Yua's mind, Ban wasn't a bad person, but he was a little scary. She met several police officers after what happened with her sister, and she didn't have a high opinion of any of them. Maybe that's what made her feel awkward around Ban. That was how she saw it anyway.
だから地下15階の番人倒せば隠しダンジョン行けるだろ常識的に考えて
Abandoned on floor 15!
万人どこにいるかわからんなり。
The two men standing near the doors had been talking in loud voices ever since she got on at Harajuku. They were making no effort to avoid disturbing the other passengers, and Yua was forced to listen to their conversation.
マップの左端の方だよ一目でわかるだろ番人
っていうか、万人と警官の区別つかないぞなもし。
Man, they really put in a lot of effort to make otaku and just people who like video games complete trash people. Man, it doesn't represent us, I swear.
いやいやどう見ても番人だろどこが警官なんだよ番人は銃持ってねえよ
I mean, I think every public transport system has like their fair share of people that are disruptive, but I think Japan usually is very like conservative on that. Usually people respect other people. Can't really say that for certain, but that's what I thought. They were wearing unfashionable clothes with bandanas on their heads. They wore fingerless gloves and had tightly packed backpacks on their backs. They were the type commonly called otaku. As an anime and manga fan herself, Yua wasn't really bothered by their appearance, but she'd never been to Akihabara before, and she'd never seen someone dressed like such a stereotypical otaku before. She took a few glances at this rare sight before realizing how rude she was being. She quickly looked away. Wait. Tightly packed backpacks on their backs. Are they gonna be like the machine backpacks that Nozomi like made? Maybe. In the seat in front of her was a teenage girl with brown hair and a blue blazer. Do we know anyone like that? No, I think the only characters we know that have like school uniforms go to Suimei. She was typing into her phone, her fingers done up with gaudy fake nails. Every time she moved her fingers, the strap on her phone dangled, and a tiny plastic gun at the end of it. Yua saw what the girl was writing. The girl was holding it at a bizarrely flat angle. It was almost as if she was trying to make sure Yua saw it. Went to a party last night with this cop and it sucked. Ugh, lamest old dude I ever met. Hope he dies. Does she take a picture of them and then is gonna upload it? That's kind of an invasion of privacy. Yua was the girl's age, but she couldn't understand it at all. It was probably just how some girls talked when they were on the phone, but to her, it looked like some kind of code. Suddenly, a child's voice echoed loudly through the car. Yua turned towards the voice in surprise. It was a 5-year-old kid standing next to Bon. He was holding a toy water pistol and pointing it at Bon. He was pulling the trigger, but water wasn't coming out. Bon gave the child a grin. His eyes weren't laughing at all, but the child didn't seem scared in the slightest. At the very least, the child was not, actually at any point physically attacking Bon with the water gun. If you got water on it, it might be a different story. This is fine Italian leather. Someone who appeared to be the child's mother came over. She bowed shallowly in Bon's direction. The mother's voice was stern, but all she was doing was warning him. She didn't try to take the gun or make him put it down. Let me show you a real gun. Oh no, Bon, don't do it! Stop saying my name! Something seemed really strange about the whole scene to Yua. The mother was making an angry face at her child and looking apologetically at Bon, but that was all. Dude, child, stop! The child seemed completely oblivious to her pleas. He kept repeating the same phrase over and over again, like a broken toy. His mother still wasn't making any real effort to stop him. Next line's gonna be bam bam bam. Frickin' knew it. Bon, for some reason, made no effort to stop the child. Oh man, they're really using milking that voice clip. This continued all the way to Shibuya. I wonder what the significance of that was. That seemed very unnecessary from my point of view. The train stopped at Shibuya Station and the doors opened. The kid and his mom made no effort to get off. Relieved, Yua stepped off the train with Bon. She looked at him as he was chuckling and saw that he was chuckling.
お急ぎ中のお客様にお知らせいたします。地下鉄番号門線。失礼しました。半蔵門線は人身事故の影響でただいま振り替え運転を行っております。
Wait, did he say the bong almost? He also said bong by accident when it was supposed to be Hanzo Mon. He said bongo mon. So, wait, is that going to be relevant? Is there going to be something that caused people to say bong for some reason? Like, let's see. So, this was the part where okay, here's the text. There was no bong here. It's just lame dude. And the text before was about, like, bondits on the game. Oh, okay, maybe I was overthinking it. I'm not sure.
お客様には大変ご迷惑をおかけして申し訳ございません。
最近よく感じるんだが。
Somebody's watching you? Rows of people were walking past them on the platform. As they joined the crowd heading for the Hachiko's exit, Bon suddenly whispered to Yua.
まるで不特定多数の人間にストーカーされてるような気がするんだよな。
どういうことですか？
さっきみたいなことがよくあるって話さ。周囲の人間の何気ない行動がまるで自分への嫌がらせじゃねえかって思えてくるわけ。
Conspiracy. That's why Bon hadn't said anything about the child's mischief. Little things like that were happening all the time lately. If he had let each one bother him, he'd go crazy fast.
まあ、考えすぎだろうが。俺みたいな地味なおっさんに興味があるやつなんてそうそういねえだろうし。
So that's what the subway scene was supposed to indicate. That he feels something about, like, people following him, and it could lead into something, or it could lead into him going crazy.
ただ、集団ストーカーってのは確かに存在するんだよな。
Gang stalking. What does that mean? Gang stalking is a type of organized stalking. Alright, I think that's all I need to know. So basically, making someone think that everyone's after them.
普通のストーカー行為とは何が違うんですか？
I thought there's a gang!
被害を受けてる側からすると相手の意図や目的正体すら全く分かんねえんだ。ただ誰かに行く先々で毎日のように様々な嫌がらせを受けていると感じる。集団ストーカーってのはそういうもんだ。
ただの考えすぎっていう可能性は？
十分にあり得るだろうな。脅迫観念と紙一重だ。俺の場合はそうでもなさそうなんだけどな。ここ数日は相手もかなり直接的な手段に出てきてやがる。
Bong!
と言いますと？
Oh, wait. Now that I think about it, I think that when they were buying the Garo Froggies last episode, the cashier also said the same thing. He kept saying bong or something similar. It was really weird.
脅迫する匿名の電話が何度かかかってきてな。
Suspicious. Definitely a conspiracy. This game is all about conspiracies. For some reason, Bon had a smile on his face as he spoke. Yul felt more scared than he seemed to be. She crossed her arms over her chest.
それ大丈夫なんですか？
まあ、デカにはよくあることさ。
He spoke casually, but as he regarded her, the look on his face became more serious.
ユアちゃんは最近そんなようなことはないかい？
No, I've actually been doing the stalking, especially on this Nishijo dude.
はい、ないと思います。
身の回りでちょっとでも違和感を覚えることがあったらすぐにおじさんに言ってくれ。ユアちゃんの身の安全を守るのは警察の仕事だからな。
はい。
Yul realized that she may have gotten into something more dangerous than she'd thought. Uh-oh, something bad's happening. Oh
あ
god.
なたは
You are
妄想の存在なんだよ。
a delusion. That was Rimi. That was Rimi telling that to Takumi. You are a delusion. That's what Rimi said, but I didn't have a clue what she meant. Takumi is a delusion? He's not real? Holy shit. I need a second to think about this. That means everything that we've done... to be fair, we don't know how long this delusion has lasted when it was activated. At the very least, we know that we were playing Takumi since the beginning of the game. I don't remember how long of a time span that was. I'll just say it's a month. I'm not really good at measuring time spans in games, but we've been with him since the beginning of the game, but we don't know whether or not he existed prior to that. We know we can only rely on Takumi's memories and memories that everyone else has. Though I think the only one with like a memory of Takumi would be Misumi and Nanami, because everyone else, I think we either completely ignore them or don't exist to them, or we just don't interact with. Because Takumi didn't have any prior friends. The only one would be his online friends like Grim or the people he's met in ESO, but I don't even know how long he's been playing that. I kind of forgot. He's a delusion. Oh my god, that's really wild actually. So if this is true, that means either Misumi and Nanami's memories were altered in some way so that he can actually fit in, or they are both in on this thing, so they're actually conspirators with the person who made Takumi. And if he is a delusion, then that probably means Shogun, if he is Takumi Nishijo, he would be the real one, since we are not the real one. This is assuming that everything that Rimi says can be taken at face value, but seeing how hard she was trying to stop Takumi from realizing it, like us, I'm just gonna refer to Shogun as Shogun instead of Takumi Nishijo. I'm gonna use that for us at the moment. But she was trying so hard for us to not find this out, and now that we found out, I feel like he would be forced to tell the truth. So I think Takumi is actually a delusion according to this scenario. I ignored her and began to look at the houses around me. I remembered this place. I'd never seen this place before. The house that should have been here wasn't. A house that shouldn't be here was. The gap between my memories and reality became more and more stark in the light of the evening sun. I said this aloud, desperately trying to deny the despair in my heart. That's right, nothing was wrong at all. I'd just gone down the wrong street. I was just being silly. Nothing was wrong with the world at all. How could there be? I ran back the way I came and headed down the next street over. But again, there was a gap between my memories and what I saw. I realized my whole body was soaked with an awful sweat. It was like I was suffering from vertigo, like my legs weren't touching the ground. It felt like I was going to throw up. So, like, what does a delusion do when they realize that they're a delusion? What does a clone do when they realize they're a clone? Yeah, I don't know. What does a robot do when they realize that they're a robot?
ここに僕の家があるのは間違いないんだ。僕はいつもここから小学校にも中学校にも通ってたんだ。小学校にはナナミと手をつないで登校してたし、中学は自転車で。
どこの中学校？
Rimi had caught up to me. Her voice was quiet.
どこって？
なんていう学校？
そんなの決まってるじゃないか。地元の。
Wait, what was its name again?
あれ。
Oh god, that's... She's probably right then. Because it seems like Takumi wasn't created with all of his memories in that case. Just, he never even thought about that. I couldn't remember. I'd gone to middle school. I remember that much, but the details weren't clear. It was like there was a fog in my head that was keeping me from seeing them. The name of the school, which class I was in, my teachers' names. I couldn't remember any specific names at all.
そんなはずないんだ。
Wait, now that I remember, we actually do know Takumi's either, I think it was his elementary school or middle school, but the detectives actually went there to investigate Takumi specifically. And, yeah, they did say he was sickly or something, but I assumed that was when Takumi went to the hospital for mental treatment from the bus thing, but it might actually be referring to Shogun's current hospitalized state.
ただ忘れてるだけで。
タク、聞いて。あなたの記憶にあるのは、この場所に家があるじゃなくて、この場所に家があるはずっていう思い込み。そうでしょ？
I felt like I was going to go crazy.
だって僕はここに来るまでの道は覚えてるんだぞ。おかしいじゃないか。
それは作られた記憶だから。
Just for you. Don't make that face. Rimi's eyes were downcast. She looked sad as she lied to me. It was more stuff that I didn't understand. Stuff I couldn't understand. I gave up on thinking.
タクは中学には通ってないの。
わかったぞ。これドッキリでしょ。そうなんでしょ。きっとあれだ。そう、リミとナナミが実は知り合いとかで僕を二人して騙そうとしてるんだ。
And now he's facing like the reality that he's a delusion, similar to how Sena's mom had to face the reality that her child was dead for 2 years, and now he's breaking down. Is he gonna get his D-sword now? Because now he realizes, oh shit, my entire existence is a lie.
なんだ、そうか。ビビった。
I was trying to laugh it off, but Rimi didn't even grin.
ごめん。私、これからあなたを傷つけることを言わなくちゃ。タク、あなたはね、本来いちゃいけない存在なんだよ。
You shouldn't exist. Oh! Rimi was lying to me. She was my enemy too.
貼り付けはリミの仕業だな。
You know, we never got, like, a conclusion to that, actually. Because at that point, we knew that Takumi existed. Or did he see a delusion there? When I see her then, it hadn't been a delusion at all. The Nugent killer wasn't the man I'd seen on TV. It was Rimi. She'd been watching me the whole time to make sure I didn't tell anybody the truth. That's why she stayed with me.
君はあの時血まみれだった。だから君が犯人だ。
あれはあなたの望んだ妄想。
That was his delusion? Huh. But how would he make a delusion about someone that he didn't know about? Kind of like how dreams can't be are only consistent of things that you've experienced, because you can't actually really make anything new in your dreams, I believe.
ギガロマニアックスの妄想はね、強すぎる場合、時に混じり合うの。妄想がシンクロするんだ。
She spoke quietly, as if to make sure I heard. Her calm demeanor just made me even more upset. Oh.
少なくともあの時、あの場所では4つの妄想がシンクロしてた。
There were at least 4 delusions synchronized there that night.
タクと
Yours,
私と
mine,
ニュージェネの犯人と
Nugent Killers.
信じるもんか。
Is the last one going to be Shogun? I cut her off. I put my hands tight over my ears. I closed my eyes.
これは妄想だ。そうだよ、妄想なんだ。いつもしているみたいな。
This is actually kind of cool. Now that everything's blacked out, except for like a white outline of Shibuya. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's very different since everything was already black.
妄想はしないで。
Her voice was quiet and plaintive, but it was an order. I gulped.
出ないと私、タクを消さなくちゃいけなくなる。
殺すの？
Terror ran down my spine. In my mind, Rimi was changing from my savior into some strange creature I didn't understand.
殺すんだな。やっぱり君が殺人犯なんだ。
Why do you keep looking like that? Biting your lip, looking down like you're about to cry? It makes it hard to get mad at you. Tell me it was all a lie. Smile and ask me if you fooled me. And then we can go back to how things were before. I want to go back.
だったら僕は何なの？
ギガロマニアックスの妄想によって作られた人間かな。
A human created by a Gigalomaniac's delusion. So the chapter is called Gigalomaniac. So that's definitely gonna take center stage in this chapter.
バカらしい。僕にはちゃんと記憶があるんだ。
And they're wrong.
中学の頃の細かい記憶は思い出せないけど、忘れちゃっただけで。
あなたが生まれたのは1年半前なの。
A year and a half ago. Oh, okay. So, I mean, we knew Takumi less than a year ago, for sure, since we started on the 2nd grade and we're still in the 2nd grade of high school. So, or 2nd year. So, it's been, I mean, I thought it was within a month or, I don't know, time passed kind of quickly sometimes, but sometimes it's just extremely slow in visual novels. So, yeah, okay, within a year and a half. A year and a half ago? That'd be right when I started high school.
だったら僕は1歳半の赤ん坊っていうことじゃないか。バブ言ってなくちゃおかしい。
タクは生まれた瞬間からタクだった。
君がその目で見たって言いたいの？
Oh, wait.
確かに僕らは1年半前から友達だったらしいね。僕は覚えてないけど。
Oh yeah, she did say that. I also don't know how long he's been playing ESO, but it's possible that he started a year and a half ago. So that would line up with, you know, his account.
私とあなたが会ったのは1ヶ月前。
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. She implanted herself into the class. She was not a part of the class. You're too colorful for us not to notice, even though we never actually got to see everyone in the classroom.
貼り付けの現場。
Oh, right. When she saw him, she was like, I'm glad I forgot the exact words. I think it was like, I'm glad I met you or something like that. It was something really weird.
私はもともと水明の生徒じゃないから。
Rimi was crazy. Rimi was crazy, just like the rest of them. She was super crazy, even crazier than Senna and Ayase.
誰が僕を妄想したの？言ってみてよ。
西条匠くんだよ。
入ったアウト。僕が妄想なんでしょ。その僕が妄想して僕を作ったって矛盾してるじゃないか。はい論破終了。それとも君の妄想、君が勝手に作り出した君だけの脳内設定なんでしょ。
Crazy shit you thought up inside your
僕をそれに巻き込
head?
まないでよ。
私だって、タクには知ってほしくなかった。ここにも来てほしくなかった。もっと強く引き止めればよかったね。
She looked up. Her face was firm. Her eyes were gazing straight at me. They had a deadly serious look about them, and they were filled with light. She didn't look like she was lying at all.
でも、ここまで来たら、本当のことを知ってもらった方がいいと思う。
That is true. We were the one who pulled the trigger, for lack of better words, and escaped the Matrix, and she was really trying her best to stop us. But this is a lie. This was all a lie. It had to be a lie. If it wasn't, I'd go crazy. Who could believe a person who suddenly told them that they were a delusion?
あなたの行動が他の人の命を削っていくんだって知ってもらった方が。
そうだ。ななみは僕が妄想だったら僕と血が繋がってるななみも両親も妄想ってこと？そんなのむちゃくちゃ。
ナナちゃんはいるよ。
Nanami's real. Okay. The way she was talking, it was almost like she knew Nanami.
ななみを誘拐したのは君なの。
似たようなものかもね。私はタクを守ることに気を取られすぎて、ナナちゃんが狙われる可能性を考えてなかった。
I think you phrased it wrong. You can't say that, yeah, you were in a way who, you were the person who kidnapped Nanami. You just couldn't protect her. That's not the same. I guess you'd feel guilty about not protecting her, therefore you'd feel like the kidnapping was your fault, but that doesn't mean that you kidnapped her.
私は誘拐犯のこと知ってる。
I knew it. She was a demon girl, just like I thought at first. I wanted Rimi at least to be on my side. That wish had let me keep believing for so long. There have been any number of things that should have made me suspicious. I kept closing my eyes to all of them, so that I could believe her when she said that she'd stay with me. But in the end, she was just like Yua.
君も僕を裏切るんだね。
そうだね。私はタクを裏切った。隠し事たくさんしてた。ごめんね。私のこと恨んでいいよ。
謝られたって僕は信じない。信じられない。
But despite what I was saying, I couldn't prove that I was real. All that strange supernatural things that I've seen so far came flashing back to me. Could I really be sure that what Rimi was saying was crazy? Rimi slowly walked up to me. Caught off guard, I didn't resist. Oh, and held me tight. Her warmth. It had saved me when I was in trouble. It had kept my mind from breaking. It had taught me kindness. But now, even as she held me in her arms, her warmth felt very far away.
そろそろ行かなきゃ。
行くってどこへ？
ナナちゃんをさらった誘拐犯のところ。決着つけなくちゃいけないの。ナナちゃんのことも他のことも。
So does that mean that the Nanami that we saw at school was a delusion? Because that the Nanami that we heard on the phone was real? and that she is actually missing her hand. Because in that phone call, it sounded like someone had kidnapped her in a way, but the school version we didn't really interact with, so we only saw like basically in our like player's point of view, we just saw an image of her. So maybe that was a delusion.
このままだとタクも守りきれないし。
そんなの無責任だ。僕にここまでひどいこと言っておいて逃げるの。
Rimi moved away from me, a step, and then another step. Little by little, she put more and more distance between us.
戻ってくるから。タクは部屋にいて。そしたらまた一緒にいろいろ楽しいお話しよう。
That's a death flag. I don't know if you're coming back. We still have another chapter after this, so I'm pretty sure you should, but I don't know.
あなたはあそこにいてもいいんだよ。
Her voice was kind. After all the horrible things she said, how could she be kind again?
でも一つだけ約束。もう妄想はしない。ね。タクの妄想力はとっても強いから。妄想すればするほど本物のあなたの命が削られていっちゃうんだ。
That's kind of what Senna said too, I think. She was like, don't rely on this power too much. And this really reflects that the one diagnosis where Rimi's comment, I don't want you to have any more delusions. I know life is hard, but that's what makes the happy things, the fun things, so special. So come back to reality, okay? And meanwhile, Kozumi is like, yes, give in to the delusions! Then you'll only have your delusions left!
何よ。
それじゃあまた明日。
See you tomorrow. Bishi? She gave me a salute and a smile that seemed very, very out of place. But then, right after that, silent tears began to fall from her eyes. She quickly turned her back to me and ran, shoulders shaking. I watched her go, stunned, and then collapsed to my knees.
本物の僕ってなんだよ。僕は偽物じゃない。
All the color seemed to have gone out of the world. There was no hope to be found. I had been denied my very existence. My life had no meaning. Not even my death had any meaning. Rimi had gone and left my useless self behind. She was my enemy too. She'd been lying to me. And now that she told me everything, there was no reason for her to stay with me anymore.
戻ってくるはずない。
Rimi had abandoned me because I'm just a delusion, supposedly. I'm just a monster. It didn't even matter. Nothing mattered. I didn't even have the strength to stand up. I still couldn't get any of what she had said straight in my head. I was so shocked, I couldn't even cry. The cold twilight wind was stealing the heat away from my body. Oh god, it went to nighttime so quick. Even the little bit of warmth that Rimi had left was gone. I looked up at the sky for no reason at all, and the twilight had almost entirely turned to night. Oh.
これが新作？また
my
へってこねえ。
That was a lot. You know what? I'm not too interested in like the detective Frisia parts, but I want to finish this off before ending the episode. So let's keep going for a little while more. Momose stared at the Garo Froggy keychain that Bon had bought and smiled.
でも可愛いじゃない？
そりゃ新作じゃねえよ。
I thought-
先週出た
when he said that's not the new one, I saw that that's not, and then I thought he was gonna say that's nonsense. This ain't cute. What's wrong with your eyes? Bon gave Yua a look that was begging for help. Oh wow, they're still working together.
ゲロカエルンです。
The teary-eyed Garo Froggy.
ああそうそうそれ
ごめんね、ゆあちゃん。こんなむさ苦しいおじさんに付き合わされて大変だったでしょう。
He's my daddy now, apparently. And Momo just looks at him and is like, what's wrong with you?
いえ、
ひでえなももちゃん んなダンディーな中年はなかなかいねえぜ。
Momose was, however, not interested in Bond's comments in the slightest. She ignored him and brought Yua a cup of tea herself. Bond sighed and sat in a chair as he looked around the office. Freezia's employees usually worked late, but today they'd all gone home right as the workday ended. The schedule on the whiteboard showed that none of them were working overtime today. With the office empty, it was as quiet as midnight.
で、ももちゃん、進行のこと調べてくれたかい？
Wait, Thinko? I kind of forgot. Oh wait, that was the company that made the Garo Froggies, I think. And they're probably gonna be a Nozomi group thingamajig too, and then Nozomi, the oh god, they're like the Google or Amazon of the world. They're gonna control everything. Disney, I don't know. Before he got on the train at Harajuku, Bond had called Momose and asked her to investigate the company.
その前に
Momose gave Yua a happy smile.
ゆあちゃん、お茶を飲んだら帰った方がいいわ。日も暮れたし、ご両親が心配するでしょ。
You could tell that what Momose was thinking. What they were about to discuss wasn't safe for any ordinary girl like Yua to hear.
私のこと心配してくれているんですか？
No, I want my tea. Get out of my office now.
ええ、そうよ。
Momose's face took on a grave look, and she nodded. Yua was grateful, but she shook her head.
私帰りません。みやちゃんの死の真相に近づくためなら何だってするつもりです。
あなたはこれ以上関わるべきじゃないわ。
It will literally kill you. Bond's going to die by the end of this game because he's gonna stick his head in too far into this conspiracy.
私もとっくに当事者の一人です。
There was a strength in her words that made it clear that she wasn't going to change her mind. Momose was surprised at this sudden, unexpected refusal.
意外と頑固ね。
ま、ここでのけ者にするのも酷ってもんだろ。いざとなったら警察で保護するさ。
Momose let out a deep sigh at Bond's unconcerned attitude.
バンちゃんにそんな権力があるのかしらね。
Absolutely none.
こう見えても一応天下の警視庁捜査一課所属だからな。
They took me off the case and they're gonna fire me soon.
あら、そう。
Momose ignored him and turned to stare at Yua.
これから聞くことは絶対に口外しちゃダメよ。これはあなたの命にも関わることだから、それを肝に銘じてね。
はい。
I would like you to sign a waiver for your life so that we are not involved in your death. Yua nodded, a tense look on her face. Momose looked at her and sighed one more time before settling back into her seat. Her plump body became even rounder as she leaned over her laptop.
で、進行から何が出たんだい？
Give me the deets.
バンちゃんの予感的中って感じね。
Bond and Yua looked at her monitor from over her shoulder.
有限会社進行の親会社はのぞみテクノ
I
ロジーよ。
freaking knew it! Of course.
テクノロジー？
のぞみグループか。
That's gonna be the G rate stuff, isn't it?
さあ驚きだな。
進行は5年前にのぞみグループに吸収合併されたんだけど、それ以降
5 years
発
ago.
売した商品が次々と大ヒットしてるのよ。
Specials: Garo Froggy, Fat Garo Froggy, Block Garo Froggy, Radiant Garo Froggy, No Face Garo Froggy, Cat Garo Froggy, Limited Time Garo Froggies, Ghost Garo Froggy, Sleepy Garo Froggy, a Burning Garo Froggy, Zombie Garo Froggy, New Shipment, Super Cheap, Drunk Garo Froggy, Bug-Eyed Garo Froggy. The specials on the left sidebar are bestsellers, introducing the Garo Froggy Bonus Buy campaign. Lots of accessories and info on your favorite bargains. Super cheap, sales on now. Tons of products available. Find when our next sales are and save big. Free shipping on all orders over 5,000 yen. Hot items, Garo Froggy. He's the creepy, yucky character that everyone knows and loves. And we've got all the Garo Froggy merch that you could want. His yucky expression is his trademark. And as you can see on full display in all our products... Oh, yeah, whoops. Bring Garo Froggy into your life today. 525 yen to ship anywhere in the country. Free shipping when you buy 10 or more. Alright, that was information on Gera Froggy I didn't want to know.
中国製バッグとかタイ製のエコバッグとか美脚パンツとか
Pants that make your legs look long.
でこの会社は商品の売り出し方が独特なの。いつも週末に新製品を一斉に投入するのよ。
The weekend. Bond's ears pricked up when he heard the word.
G レートとの関係は？
必然にしろ偶然にしろ新興の商品がヒットしているのは G レートの変動の影響ね。それは確かよ。
It's their experiment
前に見せた
on manipulating the
G
GE
レートのグラ
rate.
フ覚えてる？ 5年ぐらい前からずっと毎週末に値が上がってるって言ったわよね。
It's all the froggies.
新興がのぞみグループに合併された時期とぴったり一致するわ。
新興がレートを操作してると思うか？
新興自体はそんなに大きな会社じゃないからそれは無理よ。
となると親会社。
No,
のぞみが怪しいな。グループ総出で取り組めばレート操作だってできそうじゃねえか。
待って、のぞみの方はもちろんだけど新興が興味深いのはそこだけじゃないの。
They make you think a lot.
設立当初の資料にまで遡ってみたらすごい大物が出てきたのよ。
大物？
井ノ原幸三。
Kozo Inohana. Don't know who that is.
明和党の重鎮じゃねえの。
Oh, part of a political party.
新興設立当時はまだ民自党在籍時代だけどね。
つながってきたな。
It's all coming together.
太田教授の時、それとこの前の地震の時、明和党は G レートに関係ありそうな件について報道規制の圧力をかけてきてる。
G レートのグラフのことだけどいろいろ調べてたら他にも面白いパターンを見つけたわ。
There are two things she discovered so far about the GE rate. First, that it rose regularly on the weekends. It wasn't that big of an increase, but it went up every weekend except on New Year's, during Golden Week, and during Oban. Second, there was a huge rise during the earthquakes. The 2G rate has shown incredible rise during the earthquake 2 months ago when 8 people had died. Okay, that was 2 months ago, so this game probably took place about over the course of 3 or 4 months. And then one a week ago when over 100 people had died.
で
Actually, no, maybe
3
not.
つ目のパターン。この5年で4回だけ起きてるわ。時期はどれもまちまち。上昇値は地震の時ほどじゃないけど結構高いの。最初はこれが何を意味してるのかわからなかったんだけど調べていくうちにこの5年で4回と符合するイベントに行き着いた。
イベント。
もったいぶらずに教えろよ。
選挙よ。
Oh, they're manipulating the elections.
衆参合わせて4度行われた選挙日とその4回の GE レート上昇の日は
Soon Japan
完
will
全
be
に同
mine.
じだったわ。
Bond frowned and stroked his stubble.
野党だった明和党が大躍進を遂げて与党になった選挙は
4年前ですね。
そして井ノ原幸三が民自党を電撃的に離党して明和党に移ったのは5年前。
Everything started 5 years ago. Suddenly, there was a heavy silence between the three of them.
なんだか私、お話を聞いていたら怖くなってきました。
Well, we warned you, we warned you! Yul whispered, voice quivering a little.
私もびっくりだわ。ここまでキーワードがぴったり当てはまるなんてね。
まだ状況証拠でしかないがな。
Circumstantial evidence.
それでも G レートのことを知っていたからこそ気づけたわけだ。知らなかったらさっぱりだったろ。
Bond took his fan from his belt and casually began to wave it at his face.
ところで俺が調べた女子高生の生態について話していいかい？
Momose sighed and glared at him.
あのね。
Please, gotta work on your
いきなり
phrasing.
そんなくだらないこと言い出すんじゃないわよ。
I know you're doing it on purpose to get a raise out of us,
少しは考えなさい。
but still, man, it's super creepy, and we're gonna throw you in jail. We're gonna arrest you with your own gun.
ね、そういうなって。
Bond grinned, but his eyes weren't laughing at all.
青いセナについてだ。正しくは畑野セナと言うべきか。
Hata no
なぜか
Sena.
最近になって母親の旧姓を使い始めたんだよ。
Ooh, okay. They did say Dr. Hatano. I completely forgot that that doesn't match Sena's last name. Okay, Sena Hatano. So, Aoi is the mother who killed herself. Okay. I mean, of course, after seeing that, it's completely understandable why Sena would change her name.
その畑野セナの父親、畑野一世は今失踪して行方不明らしいんだが、のぞみテクノロジーの元社員なんだよ。
どういうこと？
どういうことも何も、そのまんまさ。
She's sus. Nozomi Technologies mostly made medical device software. The Nozomi group got their start with them, and went through a bunch of M&A until they were one of the biggest groups in Japan.
半年前、畑野セナの母親と生後1年の妹が謎の死を遂げている。
Ooh, that was 6
父親の
months
失踪は
ago.
その直後だ。
Oh, wow, okay. It wasn't... Okay. I thought that was a year ago, but I guess if we were in the middle of the school year, that would kind of make sense.
畑野セナ本人もそれと前後して当時預けられていたとある施設を脱走するって騒ぎを起こした。
From the facility.
施設ですか？
天神寮っていう
Divine Light
非営利
Dorm.
の自立更生支援施設だ。表向きはね。
Non-profit child welfare and correctional facility. Yeah, sure.
表向きってじゃあ裏があるの？
スポンサーがいるのさ。これが天聖振興会だったりする。
Wait, so one was the Divine Light, and this is the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light.
天聖振興会。
Momose frowned and grunted in annoyance.
また面倒な名前が出てきたわね。
She's like, God damn, it's another one!
ちなみにその天神寮は2年前まで別の名前だった。
Oh, is it gonna be Arc Heart? Or like the hospital? Or is it just straight up gonna be Nozomi?
アークハートメディカル。
Okay, yeah, okay. That's the connection between her and Ayase.
どんな偶然か、今や渋谷の若者のカリスマ的存在であるフェス。岸本綾瀬もここに入れられていたんだな。畑野セナとは入れ違いだったみてえだが。
Bond leaned forward towards the two of them. Oh wait, this means that the experimentation that they did on like Ayase might have started like, okay, sorry. The experiment that they did on like the mother, Asena's mother, might have actually started way before. There are other experiments that involve like Ayase and whatnot. So, oh crap, this has been going on for a while.
でだ。ここからが興味深いんだ。
It's really interesting.
アークハートメディカル会は天神寮と違ってメンタルケア施設だった。精神病患者を治療してたんだ。ところが2年前、アークハートメディカル会は突然非営利団体の自立更生支援施設天神寮へと姿を変えた。
2 years ago, that's when the father gave up his family for experimentation 2.5 years ago at this point.
それによって精神科医が一斉に解雇されたんだが、その医師たちを丸ごと雇い入れたのが代々木にある AH 東京総合病院だった。
Oh, AH Tokyo General Hospital is the same hospital that we keep going to, and the psychiatrist there would include the one doctor that Takumi said that he relied on. Oh wait, now that I think about it, Takumi was really hoping that the doctor would recognize him, but the doctor didn't recognize him at all because he was not a real person. Oh wow, that actually makes sense now. I mean, doctor has a lot of patience. I don't,
ノータリン事件で
wouldn't
殺
say
さ
they
れた人
recognize
が勤め
everyone.
ていたのってそこの病院でしたよね。
Yeah.
ああ。高階文夫
Takashina, that's what his name was.
確かに AH 東京総合病院の精神科医だ。ついでに言うと、そこの病院長は井ノ原と懇意らしいぜ。
また井ノ原議員ね。
ゆあちゃん、君が追ってた西条匠も実は AH 東京総合病院をこの1ヶ月で3回訪れてる。
そうなんですか？
警察がずっと尾行してたんでね。確かだ。しかも西条には数年前にその病院に入院した記録まであった。彼の主治医は高階文夫だ。
That one was Shogun then.
不思議なのは西条の入院記録なんだよな。彼は10歳で入院して約2年後にその記録が途切れてるんだが。
Oh, he began to stay in the They're saying he never left. Oh, so Shogun was there since he was 10. Shogun looks like an old teenager. I remember saying that. I wonder why he looks so old. Oh, wait. Is Shogun? So, was the original Takumi Nishijo, aka Shogun, someone who created our current Takumi Nishijo because he was always a sickly child and had to be in the hospital? So he created a delusion where a version of him could have fun outside of the hospital, or at least experience life outside the hospital, and that ended up being Takumi. And I mean, one of the things I was always kind of curious about was Shogun the one that really pushed him off the edge with the thing on the roof? And honestly, it seems likely, but it was clear that he wasn't physically on the roof. They left like a Darth spider mask there. But thing is, like, he was trying to get him to activate his D sword. Would Shogun want that? Maybe I feel like I have some pieces that I can't seem to put together yet. But okay, the record stopped 2 years ago, and then Takumi came into existence 1.5 years. So yeah, it's maybe the record stopped because he kind of erased his own existence. Nurses and doctors can't seem to get to his room because of that black wall. Maybe that black wall signifies like a mental barrier that he put up, like for everyone, so that they don't approach his room or something. Because his room clearly exists, but no one really goes there, I assume. Or at least it maybe, I don't know if it keeps away the doctors and the nurses, but at least it keeps people away. And it also shows that the nurses can't see him. The other patients maybe, but the nurses don't, like, physically don't see them. It showed us that when he was walking down the hallway and that person was like, "Oh, Amy, Ami," and the nurse was like, "Nah, there's no one there." These things are making sense now.
退院した記録はなかった。
Yeah, no records of him ever leaving.
誰かが改ざんしたのかしら。
どうだかな。そこまでは調べが回らなくてね。ああ、それと畑野瀬名に関してもう一つ。
Oh, I remember one thing I wanted to touch upon. You know, because there's actually no proof that Shogun is the new gen killer. And I feel like what Senna was gonna... Oh, sorry. I feel like what Rimi was gonna say at the end of the conversation when she was listing off the 4 delusions that were present at the Crucified. It was gonna be Takumi, her, the real killer, and Shogun. I assume it was gonna be Shogun, or the original Nishijo Takumi. That would mean, based on that assumption, of course, assuming that's true, which is a big assumption, that means Shogun isn't the actual killer behind all these things. So, I mean, the biggest thing that led Shogun, or Takumi, to suspecting Shogun to be the killer twofold, or threefold. One is the fact that Shogun showed him like a picture of the murder before it happened, the crucified specifically. Though that was really weird because Takumi was in the picture, so I still haven't figured that out, to be honest. I guess it was visions of the future. The second thing was the video on the roof, because he heard a wheelchair on the video for the roof jumping. The third thing is I guess for us, the sonome darenome, or whose eyes are those message at a lot of these murders. But none of them really equate to Shogun necessarily being concretely being the killer. So it's possible that Shogun might be a good person who's trying to get Takumi to realize his D-sword for maybe something beneficial or something positive. But there's nothing concrete yet. It can go either way depending on new evidence that we are, privy to as the story goes on.
最近彼女がよく行動を共にしている折原梢って生徒がいる。1ヶ月ほど前に転校してきた西条のクラスメートなんだが、この子も結構な曰くつきなんだ。折原の父親がのぞみグループの系列会社社員。
Damn it. Okay, I was kind of wondering that a little bit myself, because Senna and Ayase both had some kind of experimentation with the Nozomi group, but Orihara Kozue had not. At least not that we knew of. We knew that she was under a lot of mental stress, and she summoned her D-sword as a result of that, but we haven't seen her connected with a Nozomi group company thing yet. So that answers that.
元は広島の方に住んでてな。折原梢の同級生3人が何者かに襲われて重傷を負うって事件が起きてる。
Unknown party.
3人ともが右腕を鋭利な刃物で切断されて、ひどいありさまだったらしい。折原もその場に居合わせていた。彼女が犯人じゃねえかって疑いがかかった。凶器が存在しないって理由で逮捕はされてない。
Unlike the three of them, she was all right. Pun intended. Ba-da-bop.
それで地元に居づらくなって引っ越したって噂もある。
凶器が存在しない？見つからないじゃなくて？
But he's like, I know some people that can summon swords.
ああ、存在しないだ。何で切られたのかさえ分かってない。
Oh, that's why he was so interested in
犯行は
that.
折原以外には実行できない状況だ。
Actually, no.
だが、たとえ折原が犯人だとしても、凶器をどこからか取り出すことも、どこかに隠すことも不可能だった。
It sounds like he didn't know about Orihara Kozue until after investigating Senna.
かまいたち現象じゃないかなんて本気で議論されたぐらいだ。
Maitachi.
何もないところから剣を取り出す手品。
かもしれねえな。
Damn, he's sharp. Like that sword that cut off their right arms.
悪いです。
Yua had her arms wrapped around her body, like she was trying to stop herself from shaking.
何かとても大きな意志が働いているような。
職業柄俺は陰謀論なんざ信じちゃいねえんだが、今回ばかりはその存在を信じそうになるね。
You know, I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but this shit's weird.
明和と、そしてのぞみグループ。G レートに関係してると思われるのはその2つか。
天聖振興会も叩けば埃が出てきそうね。もともとあまりいい噂は聞かないし。
Mose took a sip of her tea and shrugged.
バンちゃんには呆れるわ。本来の仕事をほったらかしにしてこんなことを調べてたなんて。
元はといえばももちゃんが G レートのことを教えてくれたのがいけない。
You led me down this path, woman.
そうだけど、それで捜査本部から外されちゃったら世話ないわ。本当に不器用なんだから、あんたって人は。
He's like, I may have led you down this path, but you're the one who continued it, man. I told you to stop. She wasn't blaming him, though. It was a very roundabout way of giving him a compliment. Momoge gave him a lot of grief, but in her own way, she respected him. Oh, phone call. Bond's phone began to ring. Oh, began to ring. Whoops. He looked at the LCD screen and saw that it was from an unlisted number. It's probably gonna be Suwa in some way. There was a heavy static on the line. Ooh, this is gonna be creepy. Bond moved the phone far away from his ears and looked at his signal strength. It was good. The problem was on the other end. They must have been somewhere with really bad reception, he thought. Ooh, that's creepy. It was an unknown caller who had been threatening him lately. The voice sounded mechanical. They were probably using a voice changer. Bond chuckled. This was always where it ended. They say back off twice, and then they hung up. Every time, it was always the same pattern. No matter what Bond said, they never spoke another word. But today, it was different. Oh. Oh, I knew Suwa was gonna be related somehow. Oh, wow, okay, he got captured. Okay, so they're implying that he got captured. But honestly, I am really sus of Suwa. Just because he said he liked Darth Spider. He's up to something. Only then did Bond figure out who was on the other end of the phone. A Darth Spider mask. I told them I was a huge fan and they whacked me in the head. But no matter how much Bond yelled, nothing more came from the phone. He hung up. Momose and Yo were looking at him, concerned. He said he's at Ah! Bond stood up and lightly slapped himself on the cheek. Bond put his fan on the desk in front of Momose. Then he looked up at each of the women in turn. There was a bold look on his face that was nowhere to be found a moment ago. Ooh, okay, that picked up. I originally am not too interested in the Frisia parts, but we learned some stuff there. Stuff about the GE rate, the political parties. We also learned that the Garo Froggies are made by the Nozomi group, so they have a lot of power too, so a lot of things are kind of building up near the end game. So that's pretty interesting. But, ooh, this episode was definitely focused on Takemi's existence. That is actually pretty gripping. There's a lot to think about there. That was really interesting. And you know what? It's actually making me glad I got into this game because I'm starting to really enjoy it. The mystery slowly being solved is extremely cool. And all the pain kind of getting up to there was, painful, but gotta say, it feels kind of worth it. So I'm pretty excited to see what's gonna happen next, but we'll have to find out next time. And until then, I will be seeing you. See ya!